orientation as well, which we hold every Wednesday afternoon. We do encourage and have other programs to come and do, because it's much better and and maybe sends a message a little better to the refugees if I have police officer to come and talk about the U.S. law and child abuse and the other issues what are very often encountered with difference in law here and the country they came from. As well, we have a school district. We have someone from the school district comes every month to provide orientation about education and school responsibilities. Rockefeller College Adult Education about the ESL. We have Rockford Mass Transit does orientation and also take them. They do ride on in a bus to show them how to get to the home and to our office and nearest grocery store. We also talk about immigration law. There are so many things, and no matter how much you do cultural orientation, there is always something new what you have to add. We do the school enrollment, taken to Student Assignment Center, and as well we have employment services. We operate under the two different programs. So one program covers only resettlement. Then other program is a match grant program. Now, match grant program is an early self-sufficiency program, but unfortunately, we cannot put everybody who wants to be there because we are awarded by the certain number we can enroll. So we really have to pick and choose who are we going to enroll. In this program, we serve refugees for 60 days, and we are the employment site for them. The others, so we actively seek for the employment, provide job readiness classes, mocking interviews, and all what is with the employment. The second one is the RMP program only, is mainly for the like I said, there are some medical cases who are not employable in that short time, because with the match grant, we have to have them employed by end of the 180 days, but the goal is to have them employed in 120 days, and they do agree to, no matter what their professions are, because we do receive professionals and all that, they would like to be self-sufficient as soon as possible, and to not to receive the public benefits and accept any positions offered to them. So that's a big part of our job. And second one is they apply, we take them, like I mentioned, for the public benefits where they are eligible for 8 months.
Thanks. I think I'm going to move on with the next question and actually ask Nettie to start and then go to Danielle and ask how the rhetoric and actions of the current administration have impacted the groups you work with, and what kind of safety network you provide for immigrants and refugees, for the population that you work with. Nettie?
Okay, so I'll answer this question and add what I was going to say in the previous one. Because it is related with the environment that we are in right now also. When we're talking about the immigrant community in Beloit, or that I work with, mostly undocumented, 60% of immigrant adults have not finished elementary school education. There are language barriers, there are economic barriers, educational barriers. A few years ago, ICE came to town, to Rock County, and there was a big scare throughout the immigrant community because ICE was in town and was taking people, and they didn't know exactly what was going on. There were stories of ICE being on Milwaukee Avenue or being in front of Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. And we had no way of providing people with the right information as to what was really happening. There was only a radio station, AM, that worked on weekends, Radio Ritmo, if I'm not mistaken. And so we realized that we didn't have enough ways of supporting the community to give them the right information. Okay, what's really happening? Where are the resources for you? Where can you go if something happens? At the time, parents decided not to take their kids to school. People started going to work, or they asked their children to go and buy the food. So there was really a chaos that went beyond as to what was really necessary, although some people that were not necessarily the criminals that were being sought out were put in prison anyways and taken and deported. So out of that reality, we were able to, with connection to all people in the community, really a work of a cooperation throughout the community to start a Latino newspaper, La Voz de Beloit. And that's one of the papers that we still put out today as a way, and it's made with contributions from the YWCA. Beloit College has provided some students that write stories for us, the Black Hawk Technical College, professors from this college and from Whitewater University help us translate articles. The police department also provides us information now, the fire department. We have immigration lawyers writing articles for us also to provide, okay, what's happening with the law today? What should we be fearful of, or what should not be fearful of, what may be happening in the future. We have counselors, we have the hospice care, we have the school district provide us with information every month. So it's really a community effort that has, and this is just one example of others that are happening today. Maybe Krista can say more of that too, of the community coming together to create a welcoming community for all people. And in this sense, I feel that really the newspaper is something that is providing us every month with the opportunity to give people the right information. Now we have Facebook, and now there are 2 more FM online, I guess it's not FM, but anyway, online radio stations that done by Latinos from Beloit, where people know that they can also reach out to get the right information as to what is really happening. But anyway, so how the rhetoric, just like in the past, this creates a lot of fear, miscommunication, misinformation. And so we are challenged to work against that by bringing the community together and using all the resources that we have through the diverse organizations and just leaders or people of goodwill that want to do their part to ease the troubles while the government deals with doing an immigration reform or providing a path to for immigrants to legalize their status. So yes, the rhetoric is still causing today a lot of fear, and again, I'll let you talk about what's all the things that are being done. And for us as a church, I'm also working with our own denominations, Lutherans and Presbyterians, to say, well, what are we? What is our declaration before what's happening today? Because our people are fearful, our children are crying. I'm being asked to be the guardians of some of the children in my congregation in case something happens to the parents. So I'm committing myself, I'll take your children wherever they sent you. And so I'm also asking for the support of my denomination, saying, I need you to step up to the plate. I need you to know that I'm supported. I'm a U.S. citizen, naturalized, so I know I can't go protest and not fear being deported myself or losing my citizenship. I mean, there's things where I need support of my denomination, my church, and we realize in the church this is time when we need to talk about these issues just like you are today. We have a Latino service that happens after an English worship service in the morning. We cannot just keep passing each other by and saying good morning. It's time to sit down and talk. And it's time that people know how much their vote makes a difference in my life and the life of the people that come to the church. And so it is a difficult time. It's a difficult time for many people right now. So we're trying to work with the resources we have, bring the community together, and some beautiful things are happening. Things are better because a lot of people are responding. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Danielle?
As I mentioned earlier, this is my 4th year working in our department. 3 wonderful years. And then this fall, I started noticing conflicts. Kids not getting along. Some, scuffles in the hallway, some inappropriate words. And it just started escalating as we got closer and closer to the election. And that's when I realized that the kids they were basically the outlet for what they were hearing. Obviously, their parents were seeing what was going on, were hearing that rhetoric at home, and we're not sure, because if you're a refugee, you had to flee for your country for your own safety. You ended up in a camp, and one thing that should be made clear about a camp is that it is not a safe place, okay? A camp brings together everybody who didn't get along before, all living in a very concentrated area. And so the insecurity that they feel, even living in a camp, is something, it's their PTSD. So when you have the parents thinking, oh my goodness, we could be sent back to this situation in a camp, and it trickles down to the children. And basically what we're seeing now is a lot of mostly African and Arab conflict, which I've never seen before. And we're trying to figure out why, and we're trying to say, you have the right to be here. Trying to communicate with the parents so they understand what their status is here, that they're not just going to be all rounded up and sent back to the place where they came from, which, some of them came from pretty bad camps, which I would almost call hellholes. And so that is one of the big issues that we're dealing with. We do have, to some extent, a very vulnerable population. And that's the thing, is it's just for them to understand. I'm not going to use the word, well, my husband wants me to use the Trump effect, and that's what it is. That's what we're seeing. And in response to this, one of my colleagues, who's Iraqi, has started sort of an outreach group. It's called, and he's trying to get all the communities together. It's called African, Asian, Arab, American Voice, which originally, and now we have people from the Latino community, so we've added this to it. It makes for a very long title. And their goal is to bridge that gap and to get the parents to start talking to each other across their cultures and across their nationalities and say, yes, you're all in Rockford now, and let's all get along, and let's see what we can benefit from each other. Let's go and do some outings at Discovery Center with our children. Let's go down and meet the local police, because the police has to be supportive too. Honestly, if you were in a refugee camp where the soldiers were bribed, where you had absolutely no faith in either the police or the soldiers, if something happens to you, think you're going to call 911? No. Plus, you're going to have a language barrier too. So we're trying to get past that. It's not easy at all. I would say the safety network that we have is that we're all extremely protective of our children. Once our kids are in our program, for 136 kids, I would say all of us know exactly what's going on. Okay, what's their situation? Is their father dead? Is the mother's living alone? Oh, okay, there's some mental health issues, and that explains this, and there's some PTSD, and this one's living with grandma because we don't know where father and mother are. They're still in Africa somewhere. There is a long list of of the particulars of all our kids, and instead of just going, yeah, well, I have a class of 30 here, it's everyone is an individual, and we all make sure, if we have to, we go home. We'll do home visits. We have some excellent family support specialists that speak various languages, and so if have to, we'll go and we'll see the parents. We'll see if something's wrong. If we do a house visit and somebody hasn't been there for a while, and they're like, oh my gosh, you don't have something, electricity, or you don't have any food or anything else, and so we're kind of the social workers that go in and are able to see this. And sometimes the kids will tell us that there's some issues, and in the worst case scenario, we call DCFS and they get involved too. And so we're the safety net for our kids, and largely because of our kids, we're kind of the safety net for their family also.
Thank you. Actually, I'd like to take this opportunity to open it up to the audience, although I do have another question on behalf of students, but I would like to actually give students, Beloit College students, an opportunity to ask the first question. And you have to speak into the microphone, please, because we're being recorded. Ashley?
So a lot of you work with families and children, And I was just going to ask how you stress the issues that families and children face when it's my impression that immigration officials and government officials sort of stress the status of individuals when they're looking at immigration policy. And I think that even happens within refugee status too, like they often just think of like individuals rather than the needs of families, the needs of children. Anyone on the panel,
Well,
I think it
let
applies.
me try to, just to say about, yes, I mean, of course, the new changes in the new administration have created a little chaos among the refugees and immigrants. What is most hurt are with the refugee part, the family reunifications are hurt because they have so many family members that left behind who were in a process and they don't know when they are going to come. So that is a part about the refugees who are here and what the other ones are facing out. You know, we don't know. As you probably have heard that number of approved refugee arrival is slashed from 110,000 to 50,000. Which our office was supposed to receive 400. We are down to 209, but we are not sure that we are going to make that number because I don't have any arrivals for April or any or the further, so we don't have arrivals. We were lucky to have a surge in the first few months of this fiscal year. So currently our office actually works, if we're talking about the 6 month, and that's what happened with us. We don't feel as an office because we had more than 200 refugees from July till end of September. And right now, as of October 1st, we have 152 refugees. So that's what they are facing right now, that uncertainty and devastation about the others. Now, I would like to emphasize that we have a really, really wonderful support from our bishop, and that we are really working hard on educating everybody. We are not quiet, telling stories, advocating, and there are some educating community, educating refugees. Sometimes reading the newspapers, they panic too. Sometimes things are not like what they think they are, or what is going to happen, because the stories are told and they have a tendency to escalate. So that's where we are there for. As well for the immigration part, we work with the Catholic Legal Immigration Network, and then we do many presentations about Know Your Rights. Our diocese covers 11 counties. So we have sent them all to all the parishes, and they are translated in 7 different languages, what to act, where to go, what are your rights, and so that's I hope I give you the part of the answer.
Hi, thank you all for being here. One of the questions I have actually kind of piggybacks on the one that Dr. McKenzie asked in regards to the rhetoric that's coming out of the bully pulpit of the president and the new Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. Recently, I listened to an interview that Rahm Emanuel did with WGN, and he's created a program where undocumented immigrants would be able to, with very, very limited documentation, get a City of Chicago ID card that would protect their identity, but recognize them as a citizen of Chicago, even though Chicago is a designated sanctuary city. But it serves as a kind of a gateway to becoming a naturalized citizen, while protecting them at the same time. If an ICE agent were to come up to them, they could present this card who identifies, that they are a citizen of Chicago. They're fine, leave me alone. Do you think that's a program that would work well for Beloit, for Rockford, for other, I guess you could say non-designated sanctuary cities?
So I know that the city of Beloit is considering municipal IDs, and I know that is welcome in the immigrant community. They feel that it's a positive move towards not only feeling welcome into this community, but perhaps one day it becoming, in the state of Wisconsin, a possibility of getting a driver's license again. The driver's license is being restored. So even just the effort of the conversation creates, it helps. But it should not be, but we understand that it's kind of a step towards one day restituting the driver's licenses, which is, the resident ID in the state of Wisconsin. It's one way of showing the state government, say that we welcome our immigrants, and we hoping that we can do this statewide. So it will only be possible if the city considers that we can do it, and politically it's not, I know it's a little bit controversial for some, but it is a good way of saying everyone is welcome. And it provides, again, like you said, people, Mexican, at least, Mexican immigrants, again, is the most population that I work with. They have matriculas. Matriculas is a Mexican ID that proves that you are the person that's carrying this card. And it is accepted in the banks here in Beloit, in the schools, the hospitals. That's one way of proving your identity. But right now, because of ICE, if ICE stops you and you have a matricula, you're already telling ICE where you're from. So that's enough cost for them to deport you to that country. So there are lawyers telling people, don't carry your matricula, because that's one way of more easily being deported if ICE would ever grab you. So, anyways, but I understand that a municipal ID will not necessarily say where you're from, but at least says you are from this community, and it will be one way to ease the concerns of deportation for some people.
Just a follow-up question, too. Mayor Emanuel is also requiring a court order to use any municipal resources in regards to ICE raids. Is that something that you've seen in any of your dealings with the Rockford Police Department or Beloit Police Department? You can answer that after.
Okay,
I know
well, I recently had an evening where the sheriff, Winnebago County Sheriff came, and the question came up of, if somebody is pulled over, will they be reported to ICE? And he made it very clear that these are two totally different entities. If you are pulled over because your license is out of date or because you have a burnt-out tail light, they will not run you through. Well, they were saying this to the population, the immigrant and refugee population, that the job of the police is not to do ICE's job, okay? And so this was basically, we had to teach the sheriff of Winnebago County that there are a lot of business owners, immigrant business owners in Rockford, who get robbed on a regular basis and do not call the police because there's this PTSD about military and police and all that. But a lot of them think it's completely ineffectual, or, I don't know, maybe there's somebody that they employ who is may not have all their papers in order. And so they think that when the police comes, that they're going to look up and they're going to go, hey, ICE, come and deport it. So it should be made very clear that those are two completely different entities. Now, if somebody does get arrested for a rather serious crime and then ends up getting put through the process, eventually they will then check into the computers, they will find if the person is illegal or if there's some reason for them to be deported and all that. But from a first point of view, it's not. And that's important for a lot of the population to know.
I just want to add that, sorry. There are two different entities, and in Beloit also, we are lucky that our also Beloit Police Department has also agreed not to serve as immigration officers. However, in Waukesha, I mean, our folks travel to go to work. In Waukesha, if you're stopped for not having a driver's license, the second time you go to jail. Now it's a criminal act. So the new executive order is making some things that in the past were not criminal. Now they're becoming criminal, which puts you in the path of deportation. Illinois does have people, undocumented immigrants have the right of having a driver's license or a driving card, or it's different. Yes, yeah, in Illinois, yes, but not in Wisconsin. So here we are more limited. And so it's, yeah. Just a different story.
Illinois, yes, they do have and did have a right, but of course it's getting harder even with the ones who are authorized or with the documentations. We are working right now currently, the state of Illinois and different other WOLACs with our state refugee coordinator with the Secretary of State office to have some clearance about who is eligible and who is not and what documents you need to provide. Now, just to get back to, Rockford Police does not have an authorization to report to ICE. But if somebody is arrested, then the sheriff office, then they become under the jurisdiction of the sheriff office. And the sheriff has authorization, they have to report to the ICE. So that's what's different, but not with the Rockford Police. And that's why we mentioned education is really very important. Education of the community, education of the immigrants and everybody, because those are, that's what plays the main role right now. Now, I just wanted to ask you about, you said citizens of Chicago. Do you mean residents of Chicago? Because it wording plays a really big role in it. I have not heard it, so,
Basically, it's for undocumented workers to provide very limited documentation to get an ID card that says, I am a resident of Chicago. They don't have to provide a, birth certificate or anything like that. It's very, very simple to get one. But it is a form of ID to say, I am a resident of Chicago.
I want to cut in. Thanks. I want to cut in with a question. With a question on behalf of students who are here, and that is, what advice do you have for students who are exploring careers in your area? And I think we'll take we'll start with Cruzita, and then Janet, Danielle, and Nettie.
So my advice to students is to try to stay involved, participate. We have a lot of different goings-ons in the community. With our YWCA, we coordinate with community action, with diversity action team, and with our YWCA racial justice. And what we do is we keep people informed. We provide different events, informational events that you can participate in, and just keep on the loop, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And people think, again, immigration is really hard to understand. It's a complicated, big area of unfound, right? History, whatever, it's complicated. And you can't explain to someone the dynamics of immigration in 2 minutes. And you have to really break it down, because there's a lot of confusion, misunderstanding, and people give out bad information or don't understand it and misinterpret it. And they use that against our community of immigrants. And so it's really important to stay informed, stay on the loop. There's a lot of resources through uscis.gov that you can go, you can do research, you can look up. There's a lot of different national organizations like ALCU, Catholic Clinic, Catholic Immigration, Legal Immigration, Inc. So there's a lot of websites that you can go to get good information and information that can help you understand that process better, or at least the dynamics of it, the very basics, because it's complicated, and what questions to ask and not assume. So for students, it's just really important to keep on the loop. If you're interested in this kind of work, I encourage volunteering at organizations that are non-profit that provide the service in Rockford, in Janesville, through the ministries. We do a lot of that work with our immigrants. And so it's important to stay on the loop and just be informed,
I am really pleased actually to say that I have a volunteer from Rockford. We have a volunteer from Beloit College. So it's very active, very, very, very good to work with him. Now, how to help besides volunteering? And volunteering, what we need, you can be ESL teacher, you can be tutor, you can help with the resumes, you can help with the writing, submitting applications, because the employment became nobody hires any longer one-on-one or paper applications. All applications have to go online. So you can really do be the advocate for the refugees. Second is, you are also active in the social media now. So show the support, advocate again for. And if you are really in this passion, at least in our area in Rockford, we have very limited number of attorneys, immigration attorneys. So you can pursue this career. The second, if you are bilingual, look for the certification of to be certified interpreter as well. I mean, it's just like the one course, but there is a huge need in that, because none of us are, I'm bilingual, trilingual, whatever, but all of us in the community who go and interpret, we are not certified. And it's really, especially in the medical terminology, it is hard. It can happen that we, not because we can interpret wrong. And unfortunately, even the ones you get online or via video interpreter when you go to the hostel, or if you are sitting, if you are there and you understand the language, you can realize how many mistakes and how many interpretations are wrong. So, you know, that would be the few things.
Well, if you are interested in this, I would definitely get an education degree, get an ESL certification, learn another language, that always helps, travel abroad, live abroad, will open up your mind. I always say people should travel abroad. It takes you out of your comfort zone, and whenever you're out of your comfort zone, you do learn. I will say that this is the best job I've had in my life. I'm on about my 7th career. And there are two things that just amazed me. We'll get a little kid. We just got 2, a brother and a sister, twins, 6th graders.